So all the reactions, are those clear? 4 types of reactions you have: reaction with oxygen, reaction with water, reaction with acid, and reaction with other metals, metal compounds. So the last 2 already you have learned. Only new one is the oxides, reaction with oxygen and reaction with water. Okay. Can anyone tell me why the calcium and magnesium starts floating when it is reacts with water?
Ma'am, can I try?
1 second. Let me check. Tia, can you tell?
Ma'am, can you hear me? I'm not able to hear your.
Yes, Dia, I can.
Ma'am, I'm not able to hear your voice.
Others? Is it the same problem?
Ma'am, did you ask Tia or Dia, ma'am?
Tia. I asked Tia.
Oh, ma'am, so calcium and magnesium, they react with water and it forms like hydrogen. And the hydrogen, it sticks to the surface of the metal and it makes it float.
Bubbles of hydrogen.
Bubbles of hydrogen.
Okay, makes it float. Then Anand woke up.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here, ma'am.
And then why hydrogen gas is not released when metal react with nitric acid?
When metals react with nitric acid, why isn't hydrogen released?
Not released. It won't
Why is
release
hydrogen?
them.
Why is metals and nitric acid? Ma'am, because when metals react with acid, they form their respective salts and water, right? Hydrogen is not formed.
Ma'am, I can hear you now.
Now you can.
Yes, ma'am, I'm not working properly.
Ma'am, I don't know, ma'am.
Forgot?
I don't know.
Niranjana?
Ma'am, when nitric acid reacts with a metal, it forms H2. It forms hydrogen, but it's a strong nitric acid, so it's a strong oxidizing agent, so it'll oxidize H2 to form H2O.
That's right. Nitric acid, being strong oxidizing agent, oxidizes hydrogen to water. So therefore, instead of hydrogen gas, the water is formed. Okay. Then Prisha, why copper is used in boilers? Why copper is used in boilers or geysers?
And because it is a best conductor of heat.
No. Yes, Rishi?
Ma'am, copper does not react with the water even if it's in any state. So yeah, that's why it is used in geysers and boilers, because it does not react in any
It's
state with water.
completely non-reactive with water in any state. It won't react, and it is a good conductor of heat and electricity both. First thing, that is, it is non-reactive with water, so it will not get corroded although it is reacting at a high temperature and with the water itself. So it is a non-reactive, so there is no reaction takes place. Copper remains in its native state. Secondly, it is a good conductor of heat and electricity. So both the reasons you have to mention. It's clear? Okay. Shreya, what are amphoteric oxides?
Ma'am, amphoteric oxides are those which show both basic and acidic properties.
How?
Ma'am, depending on their concentration, ma'am.
How can you say that is they show both acidic as well as basic behavior?
Ma'am, when they react with the base, they neutralize it, so then we can say it's an acid. When they react with an acid also, they neutralize, so we can say it's a base.
Yes, that one here to explain. So when when these oxides reacts with acid, they release salt and water. That means they have the ability to neutralize acid. Hence, they are basic in nature. And they react with bases to form salt and water. That means they have the ability to neutralize bases also. This means these elements, these oxides have acidic properties. So hence they possess both, they show both acidic as well as basic behavior. Hence they are called as amphoteric. It's clear. So these reasons what I've explained you, those are very important, most commonly asked. Is that clear? Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now next part of the chapter, second part of the chapter, that is how metals react with non-metals. How do metals react with non-metals? No two metals react with each other. Only two metals do not react with each other. Metals always react with non-metals to form a compound. So this compound formation is done by the bonding called as ionic bonding. So for that you need to know what is chemical bond. Chemical bond is actually the force of attraction between the two or more atoms which bind them to form a molecule. Means that is this is a force of attraction which keep atoms binded within a molecule. This is a force of attraction which keep two or more atoms binded together to form a compound, to form a molecule. Atoms, or we can consider as ions. Atoms or ions. So there are two types of chemical bonds are there. One is ionic bond and second one is chemical bond. Sorry,
I'm covalent, right?
covalent bond. That's what I told.
Ma'am, now what about metallic bond?
Metallic bond? I have not heard about the metallic bond.
Ma'am, isn't there something called metallic bond?
I have not heard. I have heard ionic, electrovalent, covalent and coordinate.
Ma'am, but I clearly remember studying a metallic bond. Okay, ma'am.
Metallic bond is the ionic bond.
Oh, okay.
In between metal. Metallic bond, that is a bonds between the metals. Two metals do not react under any condition. So ionic bond is formed when two atoms complete transfer their electrons. That means two atoms have been binded together by complete transfer of electrons. Bond formed by complete transfer of electrons. That means one atom lose electrons and the second one gains that electron, and because of that the bond is formed between them that we call as ionic bond. That is the bond between the ions. When one atom loses electrons and the second one will gain electrons, what will happen? One will become positively charged, one will become negatively charged. And you know that is charged particle, oppositely charged particles have force of attraction between them. So that force of attraction which is created due to two oppositely charged particles is called as ionic bond. Is it clear? So when two atoms combine together, by one atom will lose electron and the second atom will gain electron. So when one atom loses electron, it will become positively charged. And when second atom gains the same electrons, it will become negatively charged. So one is positively charged now and the second one is negatively charged. So that means oppositely charged particles have force of attraction between them. So that force of attraction creates the ionic bond. And because of this bond, that those two ions connect together, bind together with a strong force of attraction. So that way the bond formed between the ions is called as ionic bond, because this is a bond force of attraction between the ions. So therefore it is called as ionic bond. The second name of it is a electrovalent bond also. Earlier we used to call it as electrovalent bond. Now they have changed it to ionic bond, made it simpler again. And the covalent bond is formed by sharing of electrons. When the two atoms share electrons to complete their duplet or octet, then the force of attraction created between them is called as covalent bond. Bond formed by mutual sharing of electrons between two or more atoms. That is called as covalent bond. So generally, non-metals, two or more non-metals combined by covalency. Two or more non-metals combined by forming covalent bond. But a metal and a non-metal combined by forming ionic bond. Metal and non-metal combined by forming ionic bond. It's clear? So now in detail we have to see the ionic bond. This chapter ionic bond, and the next chapter covalent bond. Fourth chapter covalent bond. So write down this part. Completed?
Ma'am, over here in the covalent bond thing, you wrote that bond formed by mutual sharing of electrons between two or more atoms. Ma'am, how can one electron go between three or four atoms?
No, this is two or more atoms. As two atoms at a time share one electrons or two electrons. So the same atom can share with another electrons, other electrons between two other atoms also.
Oh,
That
okay,
means
ma'am.
in water, oxygen shares electron with two hydrogen atoms.
Okay, ma'am. And I understand, ma'am.
Not single electron will not be shared between three. At a time, two will share.
Okay, ma'am.
It's clear,
Ma'am,
done? Yeah.
ma'am, hydrogen atom is H2, right?
Hydrogen molecule is H2.
Okay, atom is H plus.
H only, not H plus.
Okay, ion. Okay. Ma'am, how is H2 formed?
By covalent sharing of electrons between two hydrogen atoms.
H plus plus H plus.
H plus is ion.
So that's different.
That is completely different. Hydrogen atom with one electron shares electron with another hydrogen atom. So
Okay.
atoms will combine. In covalent bond, atoms shares electrons between them,
Not ions.
not ions. Covalent bond ions will not take part. Ions are
Okay.
completely different. So
Okay.
that way the ionic bond is formed.
Okay.
So now ionic bond in detail. Complete transfer of electrons between metal and non-metal. Between metal and non-metallic, metallic and non-metallic atoms. So when one atom, metal atom, so this way metal atoms loses electron and non-metal atoms gains that electron, and the bond is formed between them that we call as ionic bond. And by the way, the ionic bonding, the molecules are formed, the formula units are formed, the compounds formed by ionic bonding are called as ionic compounds. Compounds formed by ionic bonding are called ionic compounds. So this ionic compounds, how the formation of ionic compounds takes place, that you need to know. Always the metal and the non-metal combine by forming ionic bond. No any other bond is possible between them. That is, for example, the simple formation I will explain you. One by one we will see the formation of sodium chloride. Generally a formation of a compound, what happens here? We will see the general formation. General formation, that is a metal. Metal has a property of gaining, losing electrons,
Losing.
Losing.
losing electrons, because metals have generally 1, 2 or 3 electrons. So they lose electrons and become cations, that is positively
Positive.
charged ions. Positively charged ions. And what happens with non-metals?
They gain electrons.
Yes. Non-metals generally have 5, 6 or 7 electrons. So they will always gain electrons and become anions, that is negatively charged ions. Now two ions are there, one is positively charged and another one is negatively charged. So these ions binded together with force of attraction. So that force of attraction we call as ionic bond. With strong electrostatic force of attraction. The name is there, that force of attraction is electrostatic force of attraction, and it is very strong. And hence bond formed between them which is called ionic bond. Is it clear? So now simply the formation of sodium chloride. What happens in sodium chloride? Sodium atomic number, I will give you time to write out all those. Sodium has atomic number 11. So its electronic configuration is sodium
Two
electronic configuration
282.
281.
281.
281.
So it has one electron in the last shell. So it will lose one electron to complete octet. So therefore Na minus one electron forms Na plus, positively charged ion. And the second about chlorine has 17 electrons.
287.
So it is 287. So it will gain one electron. So it will form chlorine plus one electron. Now more electrons. So therefore it will form negatively charged ion. So now Na is positively charged and Cl is negatively charged. So now these two are positive and negatively charges binded by strong electrostatic force of attraction. So this can be represented by electron dot structure. So you need to know this electron dot structure. It is also called as Lewis dot structure, the name of the scientist who has discovered this method. Sodium, outermost electrons only we are showing. So if we are showing this with the dot, show inside a square bracket. Plus chlorine. It has 7 electrons in the beginning. So 1, 2 at the top. Then right side 2, bottom 2, and 1 electrons in the left side. That means it has 7 electrons. To show properly, don't show the circle. One side only electrons should not be shown. It is properly symmetrically spaced, equally spaced. You have to show the structure. Now what happens? This electron is transferred to chlorine like this way. So we have to show this transfer. That is one electron in the last shell of the sodium will be transferred to chlorine. So that arrow you have to show. The electrons you have to show one atom with dot and another atom with cross. You have to show it. And then what happens after losing? Na will form positively charged and chlorine now gains that electron. So this is initial electrons that it has there, its own. And one, this dot comes from the sodium. So now these two combine together. So this is negatively charged. So this is positively charged, this is negatively charged, has been binded together. Now it is Na plus and Cl minus with a strong force of attraction forming NaCl. Is this
Ma'am?
clear? Yes.
Is there any artificial method to forcefully attach two positively charged ions together?
Because there are always force of repulsion is there. So no, not possible.
So far there's nothing that can overcome that.
It will remain unstable.
Okay.
Immediately it can gains energy, and this one forces its own energy also. Another one is force of repulsion is also working on it. It immediately comes out of that. So it will remain unstable always.
Okay, ma'am.
So it's not possible.
Ma'am,
Yes.
this dot represents one electron, right?
Yeah, sodium has one electron in the last shell.
Okay, ma'am.
So if magnesium is there, so magnesium has 2 electrons. So you have to show 2 dots.
Ma'am, in the same way how we put cross like that, it goes in a circle.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
This question is asked for 3 marks. This explanation and then this structure together for 3 marks. Explanation 1.5 marks. Structure 1.5 marks.
Ma'am, so should we show it like this only?
Yes, the same way you have to show. So write down.
Ma'am, can you scroll down? Ma'am, could you go down?
Can you scroll up a bit? The last sentence.
Ma'am,
Yes.
what is the definition for electron dot structure?
Or definition for that.
Ma'am, they won't ask any question based on this.
Formation. Draw the electron dot structure of any compound.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
I'm done.
Explain the formation of MgO. So in MgO, it is magnesium and oxygen. Magnesium is a metal, oxygen is a non-metal. So they will combine by first magnesium. Atomic number 12. Electronic configuration 2A2. It will lose 2 electrons to attain stability. To complete octet. So therefore Mg minus 2 electrons will form Mg2 plus, forms cation, positively charged. Then oxygen, atomic number 8, 2,6. So it will gain 2 electrons to complete octet. So therefore oxygen plus 2 electrons will become O2 minus, form anion, that is negatively charged. Now here 2 electrons transfer of 2 electrons. Now Mg plus, Mg2 plus and O2 minus bind by strong electrostatic force of attraction. You have to use the word electrostatic always. Electrostatic force of attraction, and thus the bond is formed. Electron dot structure, magnesium has 2 electrons in the last shell. So 1, 2. Plus oxygen has initially how many electrons in the last shell? Oxygen has 6 electrons in the last shell. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So when these two combine, so this 1 electron, both the electrons of magnesium will be transferred to oxygen. So after losing 2 electrons, magnesium will become positively charged. So it is 2 plus, and oxygen will become 2 minus by gaining 2 electrons from the magnesium. This is one and this is second. 2 electrons from magnesium it has gained. So therefore it will become 2 minus. Now these two bind it together with a force of attraction. And this is, we write this as MgO. We don't show the ions. Actually in the this compound the ions are only present, but that ions have been binded together. So ions are not nullified by binding. They won't nullify the ions. They will be there, only they have been attached with a strong force of attraction. Is that clear?
Ma'am,
Yes.
if they ask us to explain, then we have to write also and then we have to draw the structure.
Yes, both.
Only if we draw the structure, we won't get full marks. Okay.
Only if the question is asked, draw electron dot structure of magnesium. But then also you have to write how many electrons the magnesium will lose and how many electrons the oxygen will gain. That at least you have to explain. Without explanation, no diagram marks. You will get marks for the diagram.
Ma'am, so we'll have to memorize all the valencies.
Obviously, that's how to do in chemistry. At least for important compounds, you have to.
Ma'am,
Yes.
this dot structure is used only for the equal valency kind of equation.
Always equal valency only, not for ions. Ions, when those ions again, polyatomic ions, when combines with atoms, metals again. So that way you will do that one. So it is not only for 2 atoms. It can be for 3 atoms also. So I will explain the next example is of 3 atoms. Magnesium chloride. Magnesium chloride is MgCl2. So there are the 3 atoms combined, but that is valency satisfied by transfer of electrons.
Done, ma'am.
The next is magnesium chloride. Everyone completed?
Yes, ma'am.
Now next compound is magnesium chloride, MgCl2. So here Mg, magnesium, atomic number 12, 282, lose 2 electron to form cation. So Mg minus 2 electrons will become Mg2 minus, sorry, 2 plus. Forms cations, that is positively charged. Then chlorine, atomic number 17, 287, gain 1 electron to form anion. So Cl plus 1 electron will form Cl minus. So it will form anion that is negatively charged. Okay. Now, but magnesium here has to lose 2 electrons, but one chlorine will gain only 1 electron. So that means there will come 2 chlorines will gain 1 electron from magnesium. So there are actually magnesium has to lose 2 electrons, but the chlorine will accept only 1. So it needs only 1. So one chlorine will accept only 1 electron. Now remaining 1 electron will be accepted by the second chlorine atom. So therefore the 3 atoms here share 3 atoms combine together, forming ionic bond between them. So that means 2 chlorine atoms gain 1 electron each. So therefore, while showing magnesium and then 2 chlorine atoms. So magnesium has 2 electrons and chlorine has 7 electrons. So this electron will be moved to 1 chlorine and this electron will transfer to the second chlorine. So this way the bond is formed between them. So now magnesium will become 2 plus due to loss of 2 electrons, 1 chlorine, another chlorine. Gains that many electrons, 1 electrons. So already it has the earlier initial 6 electrons and now one more came from the magnesium. 7 electrons it has and one came from the magnesium. These also, the second chlorine also has, and this comes from the magnesium. So this way the two, this will become negatively charged, this will become negatively charged. Now magnesium 2 plus combines with 2 chlorine ions, forming, we write this as in a proper order, MgCl2. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So now here 3 atoms are there to form the bond between them. 1 magnesium and 2 chlorine atoms combined together. Because magnesium lost 2 electrons which have been shared, which have been taken by 2 chlorine atoms.
Ma'am, can you scroll it up?
Yeah. This dot structure clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. These many you have to try.
Ma'am, right now.
Not now, homework.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, with full explanation, right?
Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes.
what are the important valencies that we should memorize?
Sodium, magnesium, mostly from 1 to 20.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, if you memorize all of them.
First chapter you have already done, no, for that?
Ma'am, I forgot.
So you need a lot. That's you have to keep on writing that one. Because
Okay,
it is
ma'am.
not right now you are only learning these many. This is very less as you are comparing only the known elements you are doing it. Next year onwards it will be much more. So if this is the problem for you for these smaller things, simple elements, if it is a problematic, then what about the next then? If this is not done, the next year then it will be much more burden will be on you. So whether to remember these or whether to remember those ions, there are many more you have to learn. So you have to learn these, what I have given in the first chapter, whatever the elements is property, the valencies I have explained you about the 1 to 20, and after that some more elements. Some of
Yes,
them are
ma'am.
variable valency and all those. You have to remember those valencies. At least if you don't remember valency, if you know the compounds, you can easily form it. Just like you take an example that is commonly you know some of the compounds formulas. That is suppose HCl if you take. Hydrogen, what is the hydrogen valency? One of
Ma'am,
the
one.
element is known, the second one you can find out. Hydrogen valency is 1. So what is chlorine valency? Formula itself you can tell.
1.
It's 1. So you have hydrochloric acid or a hydrogen chloride is there. We know the hydrogen valency is 1. So what is the chlorine valency then? It will be 1. That's the reason it is not multiplied with anything. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now calcium chloride, what is the formula?
CaCl2.
CaCl2, right? What is the chlorine valency? Just now you got
2. Sorry, 1.
1. So what is the calcium valency then? Formula, check the formula, CaCl2. Ca is not multiplied, so this is the Cl valency, and the calcium is this valency. It's 2. Clear?
Yes.
Then this one. What is calcium oxide?
CaO.
CaO. What is calcium valency?
2.
Then what is the oxygen valency then?
2.
2. Sulfuric acid?
H2SO4.
H2SO4. Hydrogen valency?
1.
So what should be the sulfate valency? It is cross multiplied. The formula is formed by cross multiplication.
2.
So it will be 2. Sodium carbonate. Formula you know?
Na2CO3.
Na2CO3. So here from here valency, sodium valency?
3.
Here it
1.
3.
1.
1.
Carbonate valency.
2.
So this way, if you remember the formula of the compound, you immediately get to know the valencies. Some of the compound formula we generally remember it. So by knowing the compound formula, you can directly write its valencies. And some of the compounds formula you don't know, for that you have to remember. Okay. Now the next part is the properties of ionic compounds. This is clear. Electron dot structure of all the compounds clear. How to draw?
Yes, ma'am.
So now it is properties of ionic compounds, characteristics of ionic compounds. So what are the ionic compounds characteristic it possesses? First property is ionic compounds are formed between metal and a non-metal always. It is formed between metal and a non-metal with this one atoms combined by ions are binded by strong electrostatic force of attraction. Force between them is very strong. So this is not considered as a 1 point. So this is a one of the point is there, but under the characteristic, this one in NCERT or any book they have not considered this point. But this is important. By based on this only the other properties we can consider. So this is as a general property you can consider. Then the first one is physical state. All the ionic compounds are generally solids. They are hard solids. We cannot consider as a hard because they are brittle again. So these are solids. These are solid in state. All of them are solid in state, but they are brittle. Brittle means, what do you mean by brittle?
They're weak. They might break easily.
So we can easily hammer to powder. So they can easily break into pieces. They are easily broken into pieces. So that is, you can see the sodium, common salt. We can easily crush it. We can hammer it. So that is, it can be easily converted into pieces. Rock salt also, a rock of sodium chloride is taken. Is it that much harder?
No, ma'am.
If we hammer it, it will break into pieces. We can crush in the grinder. That is a physical state. Second one is they have high melting and boiling points. These compounds have high melting point and boiling point. Reason? They ask this reason for 1 mark. So why they have high melting and boiling points? Anyone? Can you guess?
They are not good conductors of heat.
No.
So
Ma'am,
that
it takes a lot of
Yes. What's the answer?
Ma'am, it takes more energy to break the ionic bonds.
Yes. To break the bond, they need more amount of heat energy as they have been binded by strong force of attraction. If the force of attraction between them is very strong, then what will happen? They will be broken only after providing large amount of heat energy. So as ions are binded together with strong electrostatic force of attraction, to break this bond, large amount of energy, heat energy is required. Hence, they have high melting and boiling points. This question can be asked for give reason 1 mark question. these compounds are soluble in water but insoluble in organic solvents. Organic solvents, that means the solvents which are formed by organic compounds. Organic compounds, that is alcohol, petrol, diesel, kerosene, acetone. So these are benzene. These are all organic solvents. Solvents, that is aqueous solution, water, this one solutions. Liquid form, the organic compounds which are in the liquid forms. So those we consider as the organic solvents. So ionic compounds generally insoluble in those. In a oil, have you seen the this one is dissolved? Salt is dissolved in the oil. Oil is an organic solvent. The salt won't dissolve in oil. Salt won't dissolve in alcohol. Salt won't dissolve in acetone. Acetone, that is a thinner for painting. Paint we are using it as a thinner. We are using as a paint, or even in a nail polish remover. Acetone is present. So salt or any other other salts, these ionic compounds, are insoluble in those substances. As these compounds are formed by ions, so separation of ions will take place only in water, not in organic solvent. The meaning of this means the separation of these ionic bonds has been taken place only in the water. The bonds won't get separated. The force of attraction cannot be overcome in organic solvents. Only in water that can be done. The bonds can be overcome, bond can be broken, and the ions are free only in water, not in organic solvent. Okay, the fourth one we will see next class because that needs an explanation. So you can leave now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, we can write this in the next